Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to. If you're interested in creating more balance in your life, understanding your 5-element energetic nature, finding the path of greatest ease,
or releasing the baggage of this lifetime and discovering ancient alchemy that can help you fly in your life, join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical transformational journey.
Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. My name is Jay, and this is Pod 53. I'm here with my co-host, Lita Herman.
Welcome back, Inspired Actioneers. So we're so excited today for this podcast, which is the continuation of our series on happiness.
Woohoo! Happy. And the big question this week is, drum roll, how is your happy on the way to happiness going? Is this flowing in your life? Are you struggling? Maybe some external thoughts on your happiness.
This is such a good question because so much of what we do and pursue in life is because we think these things will make us happy.
Emphasis on the word think here.
Yes, and we think it will make us happy, but
there's always that big but, right?
That big but.
Even Esther Hicks, Abraham, if you're new to this podcast, we quote them often. You can check them out. We'll put a link in the show notes. Even Abraham says, everything you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it.
So I think the idea behind that quote of Esther and Abraham is everything we do is done in an effort to try to be happier. But how do we define happiness? What is it? And why is it so elusive? If you really want that new job, the question is, why? Because you think that maybe the raise you'll get will make you happier?
Or maybe you think it's finally your dream job and you're going to suddenly love the work that you're doing, or you're going to make more money, or you're going to have more challenges that makes you happy. And that's probably, guess what, not going to make you happy.
Or maybe the hours are better and you'll have more time with your kids.
Well, that might make you happier.
And you think that'll make you happier.
So we make decisions and pursue our goals in life for the ultimate goal. We want to be happy, right, Lita? We want to be happy.
Yes. And even if you say to yourself that you're pursuing something selflessly for someone else's sake, it's because you think making that person happier will make you happier. And you're probably just fire.
Yeah. Or earth.
Or earth. That's right.
The people pleasers and the people movers. Yeah.
Yeah. Earth love to take care of people. So that makes them happy.
So, we want to take a look at the pursuit of happiness a little bit closer this week to see if in reality it's actually bringing anyone happiness. Okay?
Yes.
Or is it just an illusion? I'm remembering about our conversation when we had with Mo about how we're all born happy.
Yes. Wait, that is a really good thought. But hold on a second. Before we start this deeper conversation, I just want to remind everyone about the Inspired Action Podcast has a Facebook group.
Oh, yeah. Let's do this stuff.
Let's do our stuff. So we have a Facebook group. We hope you'll join us. We do accept questions. You can email us a question at questions@inspiredactionpodcast.com. And we also have a meditation app. And, we're going to talk about a few meditations today. So
that's the Inspired Action Podcast.
Inspired Action app. And you can get that in the Apple Store or in Google Play. And so anyway, we're really excited. We just asked a question on the Facebook group about topics that you might want to hear that relate to happiness.
We've already gotten a few suggestions.
Yeah.
And guess what? If we like your suggestion, we use it on the show, or even one of your questions on the show, you're going to get an IAP t-shirt in your own size. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Just for you to wear.
Just for you.
And we'll send it out from the worldwide headquarters of the Inspired Action Podcast.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
So back to the Mo thing. When we talked to Mo about it, and he talked about how his thought is, and we are complete in agreement, that you're born happy.
Yes.
It's not something you have to earn or seek or find or harvest or cultivate. It's already in there.
Yes.
It's already in there.
Yes. And so is the pursuit of happiness really the goal? Because if you're already happy, why do you need to pursue happiness at all?
And why do we need to make it a goal?
Yeah. And so this is the fundamental question we're asking today. And, really, again, Mo was right in alignment with us.
Yeah, we're all born inherently happy. And the key to living a happy life is to simply not find reasons in life that make us not happy, unhappy.
Yes. And that was a very good point he had, that if we just look at maybe eliminating the things that we think are making us unhappy in our minds.
Let's talk about it from the Taoist perspective. Would they say that the pursuit of happiness is often just focused on the outer circumstances?
Yes. So basically, people are trying desperately to make the world be what they need it to be for their own happiness. So we feel happy when we experience and see the things that we like. And we feel bad or unhappy when we experience and see things we don't like. It's as simple as that. And this means that what we feel about our happiness is in constant flux with the outer circumstances of our lives.
And therefore, happiness is at best fleeting. Right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yes, but if we are truly born happy and we can somehow not let the outside world make us unhappy, then
that would work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think of it, someone comes along and, you got your ice cream cone and you're like, happy, happy, happy. Then boom, someone or something knocks the ice cream cone on the ground.
Oh, no.
Boom. So, we were just watching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, Jerry Seinfeld, Eddie Murphy. They had this clip of his old stand-up. If you've never seen this, it is so funny. We'll try to put it in the show notes, but they show the clip of Eddie and he's in this red leather suit, right?
Yes.
And he's like,
his Elvis suit.
He's happy, happy, happy. He's got this character and he's like, the ice cream man's coming. He's so happy, happy, happy. He gets his ice cream and then boom, it falls on the ground.
Aww.
Smack. That happiness is gone. So we've all had that ice cream cone incident, I'm going to say, where just, it falls, you get dejected, it's brutal. It's like your heart is just boom, closed in a door there.
Yes.
And so that is this feeling of, I don't know what's the right word.
It's out of your control.
Out of my control, out of the control.
Yeah. So life gives you these knocks and then we let that be the reason to not feel happy. But the happiness, again, it's inside you all the time.
Wait. Then someone invented the 3-second rule.
Right? I never really understood that rule.
Oh, no. I use it all the time. Only 3 seconds, it goes right back into my mouth. Okay, scoop up that ice cream cone, stick it back on, pick out the little things. You're happy again.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Right. Well, that is a Taoist point of view
For sure.
on ice cream on the ground.
Get it. We're not just those rudderless little boats being tossed at the sea with no ice cream. Give us our ice cream. We'll be happy again.
Okay, you're right. Actually, there is another way, and the key word here is way.
You mean woo way.
Oh, right.
Woo way.
Yes, so when we think happiness is the goal, we're never going to arrive at everlasting happiness if we're allowing our little boats to be tossed here and there at sea.
See, once again, let's look at the Taoism for some insight. We can begin a path of self-cultivation. We talk about it on every podcast, okay? The goal of the path is similar to the pursuit of happiness, just a little different. It's much more, the emphasis is on discovering what's on the inside.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is the happiness inside you that is really like an inner light inside you. And the Taoists say that if you look at the inside of you, it's like a dark cavern of mystery.
Ooh.
And within that cavern inside you, which can feel unhappy and dark, is your own spirit, which generates its own light.
Wow, that sounds very Scooby-Doo like. The dark cavern of mystery. Okay, that was the worst Scooby-Doo ever. I'm so sorry. So I'll try to get serious now. After I just do Scooby-Doo, right? This is why we start the process of alchemy with the mystery gate meditation. I love that meditation. Everyone, you have to get through the dark.
Yes.
With the light to get through. So it's a good place to start.
Yes, the Mystery Gate meditation is the first meditation of stage 1 of alchemy. You can find it in our app. And in that meditation, you envision entering a dark tunnel where all your worst nightmares might exist, or those monsters from when you were a kid that lived under your bed.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo. And instead of being terrified, you find your own inner Buddha light within you. Like mommy is holding your hand when you were little and when you were scared. And this light makes you feel safe. And then you can enter the mystery.
This is really a process of entering into your own self-inquiry. Where is that happiness inside of us that existed from birth or even maybe pre-birth?
Yes.
Why is it so fleeting then? And how can we get a sense of inner joy, contentment, peace 24 hours a day for the rest of our life? That's what we all want, right?
Yes.
24 hours a day, every day, forever.
Sounds unachievable, but I actually believe, the process of alchemy is how you can become your own beacon of light.
I do think it's achievable.
I do too.
Because when it happens, it's easy.
Yes, and that light will light up the darkness and the unhappiness in your life.
Yeah, okay, Lita, that's a great start to our Happy on the Way happiness number 4 of the series. But we need a goal, we need a plan, and we need a direction of this series. How do you want to move this along?
Okay, Jay, let's woodify this.
You think that was a little woody?
Yes, I think
goal,
we should
plan, direction?
Yes, I think we should woodify
So how about this?
this?
We're going to stop and ask for directions.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you for the direction.
Okay.
You guide this.
All right, so we're going to set up a path here, and we're going to walk it together, a little walk of our road in life. And so the
can hold
destination,
hands if you want.
we
braid
can hold
braid
hands.
your friend's hair.
There you go. Yeah. So we're going to break this down in the podcast series into several topics. And today we're going to talk more about our hearts and the idea of a pure heart, which gives us access to that eternal joy and light inside us.
That sounds fantastic. And then I thought maybe on the next podcast we're going to talk about the tentacles from the outside world that can wrap around our hearts and cause us to feel depressed and miserable. Was that dramatic enough?
Yes, that was very dramatic.
We can add some dramatic music. And how do we unravel those tentacles and find the freedom, the free heart? Think of the big long octopus arms. What are they wrapping our hearts with from the outside world?
Yes, and then we may do a podcast as well on examining society's influence on these tentacles and our lives and the virtues we're given that actually are a great source of unhappiness for many people.
Okay, that sounds like an ambitious plan, but let's do it. Let's see where it goes. Let's start with the first topic. And what is a pure heart, Lita? Let's go. Bing, bing, bing. Let's go right out of the gate.
Okay, a pure heart is a free heart. So when we're totally free, then we can be our authentic selves and we can access our internal joy all the time, even in the face of unsavory life circumstances. Like one of the worst things that can happen to a parent is a child dying, which Mo talked about how his, this event that happened to his life, his son's death, he still was able to maintain his internal contentment and happiness even after his son's death. Actually, the event lit a fire of a new purpose in his heart and life and helped him continue to feel joy in his life. And it gave him a reason to create his moonshot, which is 1billionhappy.org.
Yeah, that was just a fascinating story. And if you haven't, that was pod 51 and 52. It was just amazing. But you know what, Lita? That's it. Boom. Podcast is over. We don't need to talk any further. You do this all the time. You drop the big bomb right away. Boom. A pure heart is a free heart. That's it. Go home. Internal joy, no matter what happens in your life. No biggie. I'm going to go to lunch. We're done. Goodbye.
You always think we're done before we're not done. Wait.
Come on. That's it. A pure heart is a free heart.
Okay.
Internal joy, no matter what happens in your life.
Okay. Maybe I made it sound a little too easy. And it can be for some, honestly. But you have to get connected to your own heart. And that might be something you haven't done in a long time. Or for some people, they may never have done that. So getting or finding that pure heart is a journey.
Backwards.
Yeah,
you got to go find it if you don't know, if you don't have it.
Yes.
That is just a great way of explaining the pure heart, which I like to call heart of gold, which is an alchemical reference, right? Really?
Yes, because I often say our spirits are like gold. Gold is a metal that never tarnishes, and you can bury it in the ground for thousands of years and then dig it up and polish it a bit. And it's just as beautiful as the day you buried it. Unlike the other metals that corrode and break down over time. So that phrase heart of gold means a genuine heart that's not tainted or tarnished by a lot of desires like greed and pride and lust. It means that the person with the heart of gold is truly following their destiny, their wu wei. They're not influenced by the outer world. And that is why I love that saying, heart of gold.
Yeah, me too. I just love the thought of everyone having a heart of gold. Okay, and I also thought of Neil Young. I was searching for a heart of gold.
Yeah, you got to sing.
I love it.
Every time.
Let's put that in so you don't have to hear me sing it. Okay?
Yes, we can put Neil Young in.
Keeps me searching for a heart of gold, and I'm getting old.
But everybody in the world, we have the heart of gold. Why is it tarnished and hidden? So we need to get out the polishing cloth, and that's what this is about.
Yes, and there's a related concept I really like, which is when we think about our hearts, they're surrounded by something called the pericardium, which is our outer heart. And in Chinese medicine, the pericardium is also called the heart protector. And we all know that we often feel the need for protection.
So you're saying we have like an inner bodyguard for our heart?
Yes.
It's called the pericardium?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I know one of the goals of alchemy is not to need the protection because we're good in ourselves. So you don't need the protection. The best protection is
no protection. Yes, and that's stage 2 of alchemy. But before we go there, we need to understand our hearts so that we can help them be free. And the first step is understanding how an ideal heart should work. So this is sort of metaphorical, but it's a great way to think about it. We have this heart and this outer cover, the pericardium.
It's like the bodyguard, which is also like a raincoat or a protective wrapper. I'm trying to give you some visuals.
Okay, so a raincoat, maybe I'd even call it metal armor.
For some
people, and its official name, like I said, is heart protector. And from the outer heart, there are these little tendrils, which are like the blood vessels in reality, but metaphorically, let's think of them more like a system of activation. And we call it in Chinese medicine the network of animation.
So that's pre-Disney.
Yes, right. Before Disney animation, like
The
3,000
network
years
of animation.
ago.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this network, I see it as little tendrils that extend out of the heart and run throughout your whole body. So every part of your body, from the tip of your head to the corner of your baby toe, can be animated by the heart.
Wow, that's an amazing concept. You know, I love the visuals of the tendrils. It makes me think of something magical, like, of course I got to do sci-fi here, right? Avatar. Remember the movie Avatar?
Yes.
Those tendrils that came down, they light up at
they were
night,
so
the entire
beautiful.
planet. Energy, movement, beauty, it was all connected. Then, of course, they had that blue sex scene there.
Yeah.
Okay. Where they connect I think it was like their braids that had their tendrils, and then tendrils combined in their hearts, and they had the music, and
it was magical.
It was magical. It was the heart tendrils connecting. Pure magic.
Yes, and that's perfect. And I love that movie. We'll put a little YouTube snippet in the show notes.
I don't know if we could do that blue sex scene, but maybe.
Yeah.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Okay. It's a
It was
PG
beautiful.
show.
It was beautiful.
Anyway, so if you have a pure heart, you get these insights and motivations from your spirit and the light that lives inside your heart, and it lights you up, and you feel tapped in, tuned in, and turned on, as Abraham Hicks likes to say.
Another Abraham quote. Boy, that's 2 already in this one. You know, it makes you feel alive when you're really excited about something that brings vibrancy to life, to your body. And you're right, it literally animates you.
Yes, and it could animate you just in general, or that boom chicka bow bow
That
way.
network of animation.
That network of animation. So anyway, this is the state of being that we talked about in terms of the 5 elements when we talked about how water feels like when they're anticipating some future event. That's happiness for water. Or when fire feels light and love inside them and connection through that. That's their happiness. That's their feeling tapped in and tuned in and turned on. And when wood is totally engaged in something, that's when they feel happy. Or earth feels like they totally belong. Or metal feels a cosmic connection and a sense of freedom. Essentially, in all those cases, your heart is pure. You feel the sense of animation of life, and you're inspired by your own spirit in your heart.
Wow, that's just beautiful. You know, but why aren't most of us living this way all the time? It just sounds so awesome.
Well, in our next podcast...
Don't. We're not going to tell you.
We're good.
We're not going to tell you today.
Stay tuned.
And that's the end of the show.
We're going to talk about depression and general unhappiness.
Wah, wah, wah.
And how this is linked to hearts that are tainted and tarnished by what we like to call the tentacles.
That does not sound as fun as the tendrils.
Tendrils.
You know, I think the tentacles are like all the negative stuff that reaches out into our pure hearts and embeds them there like a mesh of tentacles, making us be and do and think things we don't want to think.
And feel miserable, unhappy, unfulfilled.
So we have tendrils and tentacles.
Oh my.
Tendrils and tentacles. Oh my.
Okay. We need another word, but
yeah. We're not putting that word
we
in there.
thought of another word, but it's rude. Anyway. Yes, so the tendrils go out of the heart and make us feel animated and inspired.
Not like those tentacles. Those tentacles go into our heart and make our hearts feel not so pure.
Yes.
Can we even liken those tentacles, I just thought of this, to the 7 deadly sins? Or maybe the modern day version of the 7 deadly sins, which were like greed, gluttony. Those are the old ones.
Yeah, gluttony doesn't seem like...
I'll think of new ones.
Yeah, so
the new ones.
We're going to talk about those in the next podcast and how to unravel those tentacles that are like the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, well, I'll think of them. We'll come up with some modern ways and how
modern
you can
ways to
relate
look at
to it. And, but for now, let's think of the tendrils. Let's go back to the beautiful tendrils of the heart. What do you suggest listeners do for homework today, Lita? Or should we say heart work?
Heart work. I love it. Heart work for homework. It sounds great. I think they could do the Enter the Mystery Gate meditation from our app, if they haven't done that already, and practice finding that inner light inside them. And also, we could all do a little more meditation on what makes us feel animated inside, what lights our fire in general. There's another meditation in the app that's called the What Do I Really Want meditation. So that's also a really good one to look at because, it's not exactly the thing you think makes you happy that really is going to light your fire. And, I might want one thing because I think it'll make me happy, but when I
think someone else makes someone else happy.
When I ask what really lights my fire, it's probably going to be a different answer.
Yeah, that cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? I think I want this job because it'll make me happy because I have enough money to do this, or my spouse will think I'm okay because I make a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. We all hear this thing, but does it really inspire me and light me up every day? So is the job really my source of happiness? Probably not.
Yeah.
Or is it the thing that, the job gives me freedom to do?
Yeah.
Afterwards. So you can kind of see how that's a little tangled. But the
Very
tendrils.
tangled,
yeah.
yes.
So we want to focus right today on the tendrils. So do some meditations. If you don't do Enter the Mystery Gate, you can do your own version or go to the next one, which is
asking yourself, what do you really want?
Yeah. And that really, if you haven't listened to this podcast, we say that all the time.
Yes.
So that's really what it's about. Okay, so that's a great place to end there. Do some heart homework. Check out the Inspired Action app for the meditation. And you know what? Have a happy week.
Yes, have a great week.
Have a happy on the way to happiness week.
Yes, and keep sending us questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Oh, if you get a second right now, you've listened to this, do a review, a rate if you liked it. You know what? You make a difference, the listeners. Right
Yes.
there. You listen to this right now. You make a difference.
Yes.
The more people hear about this little podcast, the merrier.
All right. Happy trails.
Happy trails. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there. We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.